I just wanted to put my 2 cents to something I saw recently. A trailer for a movie called Atlas Shrugged Part 2. Now, what is Atlas Shrugged? Atlas Shrugged was a novel written by Ayn Rand, who espoused a philosophy of rational and ethical egoism and rejected ethical altruism. In politics, she condemned the initiation of force as immoral and opposed all forms of collectivism and statism, which means that in many ways she was anti-government, which usually would be something that I would agree with, except that she was anti-government in many ways, including helping out the poor. She believed that there should be something as laissez-faire capitalism. What is laissez-faire capitalism? Basically, is just letting business run well, without with just enough regulations to protect them, um, and just letting them be. And this is something that has been popular among libertarians and conservatives. The only problem is, even though she didn't believe in government, at least in public, in private though, she took government aid, which made her the biggest effing hypocrite. So, you know, now, some director, producer, somebody up there who in liberal media decided that they wanted to do this movie, or at least part two of this movie. It's already a first Atlas Shrugged, in which, from what I could see and from what I could interpret in the movie trailer, just as in the first movie, and it's in the novel, they seem to portray the corporate industries, if you could call it that, if it's even a word, or they had this heroine, Taggart, or this person Taggart as some sort of a heroine, and this they had this guy, um, John Galt, as some sort of hero. Um, Basically, this was at least from what I could see of the movie, it was the biggest kiss. No, forget it. It wasn't the biggest kiss. It was the biggest blowjob to crony capitalism that I've ever seen. It was like so big a propaganda. That core, the evil, big, huge government against the small and meek, heroistic capitalist. It's just such a piece of crap. I mean, for someone who purported to be reasonable, like Ayn Rand purported to be, she wrote the biggest bunch of fantasy. And yeah, Atlas Shrugged was supposed to be non-fictional, but it just went beyond the scope of understanding. I mean, yeah, maybe in Ayn Rand's time, government was overbearing to businesses, somewhat, but there's one thing that she and many conservatives forget, in spite of the fact that these big, huge CEOs own these businesses, they're nothing without the people. Nothing. And this idea that they're over-regulated, they're overburdened, that government is the big brilliant. Why? Because there's an N-word in the White House that is threatening you to raise your um, taxes by 3%. I mean, these people fear being kept in line, and it's not for what you may think. It's not that they fear being kept in line because the government is so evil and wants to impose all these regulations on them. It's just that they want to do whatever they want. Screw what they do to the earth, screw what they do to the people. I mean, if the last 12 years hasn't been a prime example of why people with the thinking of Ayn Rand are wrong, then we haven't learned anything. Look at what the dropped regulations have done for the average American worker. The majority of our production, of our industry, is overseas, where they can pay a fucking quarter a day to people and deny them even human rights in some cases because these companies join with government, the evil thing that they hate. Well, it's not so evil when it's government working for them. Now is it? When it's government whipping the employees and keeping them in line, is it? The idea that somehow government in this country is the bully to businesses is the biggest crock of shit I have ever heard in my life. It is so unrealistic that it has to be put in the genre of fiction. In this case, science fiction, as this movie is labeled, I believe. Because that's what it is, it's fiction. The idea that the corporation and the executive is the hero and the bully, the bad guy, the evil boss is the government, and that these corporations are so into freeing the average worker from oppression. And I understand this movie is fiction, but that same kind of mentality, the same kind of thinking that drove this woman to write this novel is the same kind of thinking that's polluting the majority of libertarians and conservatives in this country. If these people, the Paul Ryan's of the world, were to speak the truth of what they really believe openly and without doing this double talk, talking on one end and saying something different on the other, nobody would fucking vote for them. Because even though people want to be independent and free, they don't want their bosses to rule over them, which is what the state of this country is. It's not a dystopian and Ryan Atlas Shrugged world. Far from it. It's a world where the businesses where the government actually has given the businesses the biggest blowjob there is out there. I mean, the reality is that less people in this country who think there's less people that who think like John Galt, and more people who think like um, the lead character. I think it's from V for Vendetta, Jack Fox, I believe. Um, let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry, Guy Fox. That's it, I think. Or V, rather. More people are thinking like, I guess V. Guy Fox is the master one. I understand that. So, fuck off. Because it's much less like it's much less by far than worlds apart from Ayn Rand, and pretty much more like B for Vendetta. I mean, it's so bad that some other reviews out of 100 gave it 30, 30, 22, and of course, the mindless sheep that believe or hang on to this Ayn Rand philosophy. Oh well, no, wake up, the government, but what? No, no. As broken as our government is, it's nowhere near Ayn Rand. Okay, the idea that this government is persecuting the businesses, please. Wall Street is the biggest contributor to both parties. You want to think that, businesses are in so much trouble because of Obama? Sheldon Adelson, casino marvel or mogul, promised to give Mitt Romney $100 million. The only difference between Obama and Mitt Romney is one will be bought with less money, but it's not nearly the world of Atlas Shrugged. Not by a mile close. Not by an inch close. If you want to think, wake up to this. It's not the government who's our enemy, it's the corporatist, greedy CEOs and executives who buy and pay for our leaders. Who are the enemy? Ayn Rand was the biggest goddamn hypocrite. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I don't give a shit. You know what? Bring it on. You Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand worshippers, bring it on. Because you know what? Your hero is a goddamn government aid taking hypocrite bitch.